to talk to both of you guys today, especially because Midnight, your new single comes out. Very exciting.
Midnight.
We want
Very
to talk
exciting.
about that, of course. But before we get into that, can you talk a little bit about your history and how you guys met and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so Lucas and I used to work together actually, and we both live in Brooklyn, but I used to throw a little like community-oriented event series in Brooklyn, and we had Lucas come and play one of our shows, and at the end of the show, it was just kind of like at the end of the night, and I just decided to go play back to back with him. Like all the musicians were kind of just like hanging out, and so we just spun back to back, and one of the horns players from the other band like came on and started playing with us too, and we were just like, wow, this is so much fun. Whoa, change of scenery, Lucas. Nice.
Wow.
I know. I was having some internet problems indoors, so I moved to the great beyond. But
yeah, we kind of just like started playing back to back, and then after a couple, we played around the city a bunch, and then after a year or so, maybe actually almost 2 years of just DJing together, we were like, maybe we should try to write some music and see what happens. And then yeah, Supertaste was born, so they say.
Supertaste was born during quarantine as well, interestingly enough. We were together in person for 2 years DJing, and it never really occurred to us to start actually trying to write music with one another until we actually like weren't in the same room anymore and weren't allowed to see one another. So it all came together a little bit serendipitously over the past year or so.
For sure. That was a weird perk of quarantine, is your mind had to go to different places and kind of adapt. And look at you guys. That's so great. And I know individually you go by some really great names, 100,000s and Slug Father. So can you please talk about where those came from?
Absolutely. Zachary, would you like to take it away?
Yeah. So some hundreds, thousands comes from a quote from one of my favorite books called Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, and it's just like kind of this like epitomic like ending scene, final scene to the book, and it's just I was looking for a name for a really long time, and it just kind of like stuck itself out on the last page to me. I don't want to summarize the whole quote because it's a little much, but definitely go check it out / read the book. It's fantastic.
Very cool.
Lucas is a little.
Wow, that's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a cool, real reason to have an artist name. Mine is because I was in Santa Cruz, California, and UC Santa Cruz. I just stopped by because I wanted to see, because they have a Grateful Dead museum at UC Santa Cruz, and my pops is a big Deadhead, so him and I made a trip out there to learn some Grateful Dead history. And their mascot at that school is, oddly enough, the banana slug, which is maybe a top tier, maybe worst mascot of all time. But they're the banana slug, and I saw a shirt in the gift shop that said #1 Slug Dad, and I was just like, done. That's it. That's me now. It's your boy.
That's perfect. It embodied you. It spoke to you.
Since then, I've been Slug Papito, and things have been great ever since.
It really like set itself into history. Disclosure played one of its tracks on BBC a couple months ago, and they're just like, this next track is by Slug Father. Cool name, Slug Father.
They love it. How could they not? That's amazing. And super classic. It's coming out at midnight. What can you say about the single?
So the single, I guess, from our like in our heads, we kind of like, before we were writing the lyrics to the song, we kind of like painted this kind of like scene of what we wanted to kind of talk about. It was like the setting, like if you're thinking about it in like a movie terms, the setting is like a Fear and Loathing vibe, but like make it like New York City on like a summer night at like 2 a.m. on like a first date kind of thing.
And a lot of our first EP, I mean, the name of the first EP was literally Breakup Disco, and kind of like the theme of that was like these fun, funky songs with kind of, I guess, more like your emotional bummer jams kind of lyrics, but with these kind of upbeat, fun electronic songs. And so I think when we were starting off this next project, we wanted to have a little bit of a change in heart and not, I mean, we definitely have those tracks that are a little bit deeper cut on the lyrical content, whatever else, but we really just wanted to have like a fun, summery track that embodied us without necessarily the sad side of us for a good track.
Sure. I got to listen to it already. I feel so special. And it does have the vibes that you were just talking about. It totally feels like a summer night. And that's where we're trying to be. And that's where we're getting to. So that's really
Yeah, that's
awesome.
the goal. That is the goal right now.
That's awesome. And I know that the EPs are coming with the same name. And the story of how you created this is so cool. So I'm going to let you talk all about your cabin in the woods in Tennessee.
Yeah, so I spent the majority. So my family has a lake house down in Tennessee, and like my siblings and I have always said, if anything ever goes south in the world, we'll just like meet each other at the lake house. And like March 15th of last year, we just like all text each other. We're like, hey, like I'll meet you there. Like we're going.
Yeah.
And so throughout the last year, like Luke, like we were lucky enough that we did work a lot remote, but had lucky enough to have some time where Lucas could come up and we could really set up in the house there, kind of away from everything. And even as recently as February of this year, we were there kind of with our full setup and working through some stuff. So
yeah, it was pretty amazing. We cleared out the whole living room of the house and kind of transformed it, like moved the studio that you're seeing behind Zach right now. We basically uprooted it all and moved it to the living room of the house in Bristol, Tennessee. And we had this really beautiful overlook over the mountains and a national park next door. And it was really interesting way to write because, we're trying to really harness these, summer night city vibes and our kind of like New York City attitude towards the writing and towards the music, and like kind of doing that while we were in this really pristine, quiet area of the woods. It was a cool contrast, and it was a really fun way for us to just really focus and bear down and write some new music together. And I think the result we're really happy about.
For sure. I saw the pictures that you guys posted of the setup and it looked super cool. When do you expect the EP to come out?
EP's coming out in August, the beginning of August.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beginning of August. I want to say the 5th, but let's not give any specific dates yet because we're going to give a TBD on that one. But beginning of August, keep your eyes and ears peeled. And we have a ton of, between then and now, new singles, new mixes, new music videos, new everything. So we're super stoked to share with you and the rest of the world all the stuff we've been working on over the past year.
That is so exciting. So much to come from you guys. That's a beautiful thing. And I know in your Twitter bio, it says 2 disco guys. So I want to talk to you about this because I think a lot of people think of disco and they think of like that kind of era in the 70s and don't realize that people still are doing this. It's just evolved. How would you say the genre of disco has changed and progressed since that time?
I think
that's a great question. You know what, Haley?
That is a great question.
You nailed it. That was an
fantastic
awesome question.
Thank you.
I feel like a lot of, and I mean us included, a lot of people these days are kind of less calling our music disco specifically, but more just like pulling influences from it and instrumentation and rhythms and vocal melodies. But there are definitely people that are holding far more true to the roots of disco than we are. I think that we're just I think that the kind of persona of disco is kind of something that we're striving to emulate in our stuff, in our branding, I guess, in our music, and in our live shows eventually.
Yeah, I very much agree with Zach. I think, we're really thinking about the boiled down elements, I guess, of what disco music and what funk music is. And we're thinking about, sometimes those 4 on the floor, really roomy, nice hats and drums, the funky bass lines, the falsetto-y vocals, and those kind of like group harmonized vocals. And so maybe when you listen to some of these songs, it doesn't immediately jump out to you as this is a disco song. But as we're constructing each song between the vocal harmonies and the bass lines and the styles we're going with the drums and the lasery effects sounds we're using, kind of in homage to, your Giorgio Moroder and your 80s, like more electro disco, Italo disco artists, that I think we're just pulling a lot of individual elements and then trying to write our own new songs around those. So yeah, maybe we wouldn't say we're a disco band, but we certainly have a lot of disco influence in every song we make. That's for sure.
I feel like a really good indicator of kind of where that genre is like living today is if you haven't checked out SG Lewis's new album, it is phenomenal. And I feel like he he's doing a really good job of like bringing a lot of those sounds into 2021.
Yes, someone's
So it's
got
really exciting to listen to. Yeah,
very
it's got some the classic Nile Rodgers guitar on there that you hear in a bunch of classic disco songs, and yeah, he's great.
Very cool. And you mentioned live performances. So I got to ask, when this is all over, light at the end of the tunnel, what are some of your dream places you want to perform first?
Well, I feel like Zach can advise more on this, but I feel like there's certainly a laundry list. Like we've DJ'd so many different places together in and around New York, and Zach's played a bunch in Southeast Asia, actually played across Thailand, and there's a lot of cool festivals and places we're super excited about getting back into. We've played like elsewhere in Baby's All Right and Bowery Ballroom and Governor's Ball and a variety of a ton of different places in New York, but a lot of those places we did kind of as the DJ duo, but this was all pre-creating the Supertaste project, which has really all happened in quarantine. So we actually, to this point, although we've been DJing together for years, we still have never had an official live Supertaste show yet. That will be happening, right? So our debut live show will likely be happening sometime this summer or fall, and we'll certainly keep you posted on that.
Very cool. Maybe Maine will be on the list.
Maybe Maine could be on the list. No, for real. I'd love to make a stop in Maine.
Have you been here yet, either of you?
I love Portland.
Very cool.
It is amazing. Some great breweries in town. I love oysters, so I'm all in on the Portland seafood life. And there was I can't even remember the name, but there was a really rad like comic book and record shop that I went to in town that had a bunch of recycled old board games that I highly recommend if I knew the name of it. But I'm team Portland. Is what I'm here to say. I think it was actually. So
that sounds about right.
You know me better than I know myself, Haley.
That's what I'm here for. Amazing. Have you ever been here, Zach?
I've not. My little brother lived there for a short period of time over the last like 6 months with his girlfriend up there, and just kind of like got to enjoy weekends in Acadia and exploring the state a bit. And I meant to make it up, but it was just, I feel like the whole traveling with COVID thing was just like there were a lot of restrictions and kind of it was a little nerve-wracking, but I hope to make it up there soon for sure.
Yes. Well, when this is all said and done, I expect to see you guys here for like a brewery tour or something. But in the meantime, our state motto is the way life should be. So I want to know, according to you guys, what is the way life should be?
Oh my gosh, what an existential question.
I know.
Yes.
Lord. Lucas, go for it, man.
Wow, really just dishing it off to me, huh? Okay, no worries. The way life should be. How do we see the way life should be? I think we are two people that really value, I think this comes across in our music, but I think we're two people that really value like personal interconnectivity, and we like in all of the shows we've ever put on and the shows we've played and the music we make, like a lot of it's really just with the end goal of I don't want this to sound trite or generic as an observation, but just like we love the experience of whether it's cooking for people or sharing music that we love or sharing songs and things like that. We really like being maybe not the host, but just bringing people together in some ways, that we can be some sort of central hub for people to openly express themselves and listen to music they like and spend time with people that they like and not feel so restricted by social guidelines or idiosyncrasies and really just be able to be yourself, but not be yourself by yourself, be yourself with us.
Oh, that was so perfect. That. Yeah, I love that too. And that's
really glad I dished that off.
I feel like
sweating over here.
It's something that we've, maybe took for granted at one point in time. And now I think we're going to come out of this with a new lens and appreciate things like that a lot more. So that was a really
absolutely.
Amazing.
And we love food, we love to cook, so you'll probably see some cooking videos from us, but hopefully in the future some cooking and music based events where we can hopefully do a little bit of both and serve people with both love and food and music. So we'll trying to combine everything.
I love that, you guys. That's so exciting. It sounds like you guys got a lot coming up on the horizon, especially midnight tonight. We're looking out for the single. I can't wait. It was so great to meet you guys, and I look forward to watching you cook and make music and everything you do.
Thank you so much, Haley. Really appreciate you bringing us on. We're stoked to be talking to you in Maine, and we're so excited. Everyone go please check out Super Classic, the single, out at midnight tonight on all platforms.
Yes.
Bangers only, love only. We're putting out heaters. See you on the dance floor.
I could not have done that better myself, so thank you, Lucas. Until we meet again, you guys, take care.
See you, Haley.
Bye, Haley. Thank you.